Hello and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a book review and or a summary of the book The Atomic Habits. So let's begin. The summary of this book will give you a vague understanding of the topic. I highly recommend that you read the book. Atomic Habit is the definitive guide to breaking bad behaviors and adopting good ones in 4 steps, showing you how small incremental everyday routines compound into massive positive change over time. James Clear is the author of Atomic Habits, and he has also written the book titled Just Stand No Matter What Comes. To put it in simple words, the worst fear of a spectator in a baseball match is to get hit by the baseball. What if a baseball bat comes flying into the stands with people ducking away and raising their arms in terror? This is a prime example of irrational fear. James Clear was one of those cases. When he was in high school, a loose bat smashed right into his face. A broken nose, dangerous brain swellings, dislocated eyes, fractures, and his recovery took months. To get his baseball career back on the track, he had no choice but to rely on the power of small gains. In college, he slowly accumulated good habits and eventually he managed to become one of 33 players for the All-American academic team. Today, he is one of the most prominent or popular habit researchers, reaching millions through his blogs at jamesclear.com. His first book, Atomic Habits, is now the definitive guide on the topic and has quickly become a New York Times bestseller. Let us now look at the 3 lessons that we can extract from this book. To break bad habits from good ones, it is paramount that whenever we are performing a habit, we execute a 4-step pattern: a cue, craving, response, and reward. If we want to form new habits, we should make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. You can use a habit tracker as a fun way to measure your progress and ensure that you do not fall off the wagon. If I want to start going to the gym, then somehow I'll mentally make it an obvious choice. I will also make it attractive as it may enhance my social image. I'll try and make it easy by providing my body with ample rest. And I'll make it satisfying by correlating brain power to exercise. For example, I can think for longer when I exercise. Let's see what it takes to form new habits. By learning from a true habit master. The lessons that we can learn from Atomic Habits are: Lesson 1. All habits are based on 4-step pattern, which consists of cue, craving, response, and reward. In 1776, Adam Smith laid down the foundation of modern economics. The Wealth of Nations, one of his most famous observations, he says that in a free market system, all workers naturally maximize their own society's welfare, even if merely acting in their own best interest. He is led by an invisible hand to promote an end which was not a part of his intention. When it comes to habits, James Clear suggests that the environment is the invisible hand that shapes our behavior or human behavior. That's why a prompt is the first step in performing any habit. It may not always be external. Then 3 more stages follow to complete the 4-step pattern. Cue, a piece of information that suggests that there is a reward to be found, like the smell of a cookie or a dark room. Craving, the motivation to change something to get the reward, like tasting delicious cookies or being able to see. Response, whatever thought or action you need to take to get to that reward. A reward is simply the satisfying feeling that you get from the change. Along with the lessons, James offers a more refined version of what Duhigg described in The Power of Habit, and while these approaches are different, they are not mutually exclusive. Lesson 2 is, you must make these habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. James then derives 4 laws of behavior change, along with some ideas for how you can use them to facilitate good behaviors and make bad ones harder. Make it obvious. Don't hide your fruits in your fridge. Put them on display, front and center. Make it attractive. Start with the fruit you like the most, so you'll want to eat one when you see it. Don't create needless friction by focusing on fruits that are hard to peel. Bananas and apples are super easy to eat. For example, make it satisfying. If you like the fruit you picked, you'll love eating it and feel healthier as a result. You can apply these to all kinds of good habits, like running, working on a side project, spending more time with family, and so on. Conversely, do the opposite of bad habits. Make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. For example, you could hide your cigarettes, add financial penalties to get rid of all lighters, and only allow yourself to smoke outside in the cold. Lesson number 3. A habit tracker is a fun way to ensure you stick to your new behaviors. As you know, with this method you can make or break habits easily. You like to tackle multiple things sooner than later. But it is important not to take too much at once. I'm talking about a way of keeping yourself accountable without becoming overwhelmed. Is to track your habits with a habit tracker. It can be an app or a notepad. You need to keep it simple. You keep a record of all the behaviors you want to establish or abandon. And at the end of each day, you mark which ones you succeeded with. This record can be a single piece of paper, a journal, a calendar, or a digital tool like an app. This strategy is based on what's sometimes called the Seinfeld productivity hack. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld marked his calendar with a big X. Every day he came up with a joke. Soon his goal was not to break the chain. It's a simple and effective strategy to help you build good habits. And since habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, therefore it is a process that we must all hardwire into our brains and follow. Is that all? No. You can also learn how our brain forms habits in the first place, why all habits should be easy to start, and how to use implementation intentions to improve follow through. So this was the first section of the video. In this section of the video, I'll share a bit about stage fright. I recently watched a video by Miss Muniba Mazari, who is a famous activist and a great motivational speaker. I'll add the video to the end screens. A similar incident happened to me. She talks about how she was a little less confident. Please watch the video for the context. My incident was quite similar. The only difference was that I chose to be a part of an elocution competition only because one of my friends was also participating. I had no idea how to recite a poem and I did not practice at all. I was focused on impressing the judges and I guess I was thinking that I would ace the competition. So I was way overconfident and obviously I did not recite anything. I just couldn't do it. When I saw an audience for the first time, that did the trick. I almost forgot everything that I had memorized. The takeaway is to never try to impress others. Never fall for trap of conformity. I'm glad that something like this happened to another person in this world. And I'm not alone as far as this experience is concerned. I really appreciate Miss Muniba Mazari for sharing her experience or story. It is better to work hard and prepare first or practice. The best practice can be to visit and revisit the place where you will present your speech. If you go completely blank, then start by greeting everyone and start talking about general things for a while so that you can trick your mind into forgetting about the stage fright. And I'm also glad that I experienced this. I was able to channelize the desire to succeed into almost every presentation that I gave after that. What I experienced was a dry mouth, words not coming out accurately, and the mispronunciations caused my entire recitation to collapse. So thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next. Take care and have a nice day.